All right, today we're going to do a full tour of all the modifications that were done to this 2006 PleasureWay Excel. Started life as a regular Excel, and I ripped out pretty much all the rear half of the van and rebuilt it from scratch. So what we're looking at here is one of the configurations we can do for the rear. It's a U-shaped dinette with a table in the middle. This table can swivel around so you can get access to each of the seats. I redid all of the wall panels, the upholstery, insulated all the walls behind the upholstery there, and the insulation has made a huge difference in how much propane we need to heat the van in the winter. Before the insulation, we'd have to run the heater quite frequently, and now it only cycles on every once in a while, so it allows us to use a lot less propane, and the comfort level is much better because the walls are not as cold. So even though this stuff is the regular PleasureWay factory stuff, but I removed all of it, insulated behind these walls, insulated behind the cabinets there, and pretty much took apart anything that I could and insulated behind it. The way this works is there are several of these bridge panels that span the gap between the two benches, and these are called Button Fix. It's a product out of the UK, and on the opposite side of the bed panels, if we move these cushions, there is a fastener. Let's see if we can get that clips in. So once you secure it, it's in there pretty good, and it'll stay there driving, and it's not going to come loose. So give me a second, I'll reconfigure this and show you the other options. Okay, so this is another option for the configuration. It's just 2 benches on each side, and in this configuration it allows tons of storage. I can put 3 mountain bikes, maybe 4. I've never tried that, but could probably get 4 in here. These cargo hooks are single point L-track, where those are fully bolted all the way down to the frame and can take quite a bit of force. I forgot what they're rated for, but it's several hundred pounds, maybe 600 pounds. I've measured it, and I'm pretty sure I can do it, but I haven't done it yet. Is I can get a dirt bike in here as well, and those anchor points are more than rated to handle that. So anyone that has a factory PleasureWay knows there's not too much storage available. So with this bench, we've got plenty of storage down this way. I've got 2 full camping chairs in there, toolkit, and the accessories for the awning. And we can also slide our luggage and bags underneath there. And I'll show you in a moment, but both of the bench tops are hinged, where you can access it from the top as well if you pull the cushions off. Same thing on the other side to access all the electronics. Each of these is hinged with these marine latches, and we can gain access to all that stuff. Give me a second and I will show you what's under there. Okay, so these are the bench tops with the marine latches. They're hinged to access all the electronics. We've got 200 amp hour lithium batteries, 3000 watt inverter, DC to DC battery charger. We also have a solar charger, and we've got a Lynx distributor there to have all of our fuses and kind of distribution panel. Anything that is not fused in the links distributor, which has some pretty big fuses in it. I've put on individual circuit breakers. So we've got one there for the DC distribution panel here, and we've got one for the fridge that sits on its own. All the components for the Renogy shunt are in this little black box, and all the wiring kind of distributes out through the van. With the 3000 watt inverter, I kind of oversized it. I can really only do about, I think it's, what does it say, 2400 watts, and that's kind of limited by the size of my wires and the fuses in the links distributor. But I oversized it just for cooling capacity, really. The bigger ones have more cooling capacity, so if you are using it at a kind of below its rated amount, it should never get too hot. But if it does, we have the cooling fans that I mentioned earlier. We've got master switches for the power bank and another one for the solar, where we can turn that on and off. Some other details here is it's a little bit hard to see, but all of these wood panels are mounted with rubber bushings, so there's no metal to metal wood to metal contact anywhere, so it doesn't squeak at all. And each of these wood panels is slightly smaller than the aluminum frame, so there's no contact between the wood and the aluminum. Under this side, we've got another storage cubby with some dead space there. We can access this from the rear door. We also have the water heater in here, and this gray box is a transfer switch for all the AC power. All the different sources for the AC power. Originally I had a generator, I installed the inverter, and then we've got shore power. So with that switch, I can switch between shore power, the generator, which I've actually removed from the van, we don't need it anymore, and the inverter. So we just switch that back and forth for whatever AC power source we're using. And again, got the marine latches there. I'll see what other details we've got. So for the cushions, I put this ventilated rubber fabric on there, which does two things. It allows the cushions to breathe, and then it's also kind of a no-slip grip for just so these cushions don't slide around too much. Each of the cushions have a zipper so that we can remove the covers and wash them if we need to. All the door panels I rebuilt from scratch and reupholstered them and insulated behind. Okay, so now I'll run through all the various configurations we can do for this rear section. For a solo camper, if I'm going by myself, this bed is plenty big enough to sleep on by myself while maintaining all the gear and such in this center area. This other side is a little too short for anyone to sleep on. So if my wife is with me, we'll build the bed all the way across, and then we sleep kind of east-west here, all the way across. This is a wide body van, so there's plenty of space. I think it's, I don't remember the exact dimensions, but it's almost 80 inches across. So it's plenty to sleep east-west there. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, we've got 3 of these panels that go on those button fix attachments. These are constructed out of 1/2-inch plywood, and the strength comes across from the 80/20 aluminum. So we just align the button fix panels. And pop them on. And that will give you the U-shaped configuration that I showed earlier. If we add in the second panel, that gives plenty of space for 2 people to sleep on. And the third panel is intentionally shorter, where that kind of gives us a little bit more space if we're cooking or just hanging out and not fully sleeping. Don't have the bed all the way set up. It gives you a little extra living space in the main part of the van. So all of these cushions were very carefully designed to be interchangeable, and you can piece them all together in a very tight fit, so that when you're sleeping, it's such a tight fit that you can't feel the seams there. And I'll go ahead and add that last panel in and complete the entire bed. All right, so the last panel's in there. We'll pop it down on the button fix and put our last cushion in. And there we go, we've got the entire bed set up. Gives you plenty of space for 2 people sleeping east-west. So all of those bridge panels were carefully sized so that they fit up here in the storage closet. And we also have storage for the table that fits nice and tight against the wall there. And so that's where we store those when we're not using them. So on the opposite side, we have those same marine latches that give you access to the storage underneath. Moving up to the front, all this mostly remained the same as the original PleasureWay van, but we did install this isotherm refrigerator. It's a drawer style with a freezer. And it's turned off right now, but when it's on, it's pretty well lit. I can demo that in just a second. Yeah, so when the fridge is on, they've got these nice lights. Gives you good visibility to all the stuff you've got in the fridge. See a few other little nice to have features. I just put these nets where we can store our cell phones and keys, whatever other little items there while they're charging. There's another one here on the other side. And this panel here is held on with magnets, so we can access all the wiring for the controls behind it. And yeah, with the new electronic system and the inverter, we can run pretty much all household appliances, which makes it nice. The inverter is wired up to every AC outlet in the van. So we've got one here. We've got one up here. And there's one on the outside, the exterior of the van, underneath the awning. And I believe there's one in the bathroom as well. Okay, so just to give a demo of the AC power system, I've got my manual transfer switch to the inverter. Got the inverter turned on, and the air fryer ready to go. So we can now use household appliances in here. We can also use them outside with the AC outlet that's wired up to the outside of the van. And we can see we're pulling about, let's see, 1.5 kilowatts, 1500 watts. And it's running no problem. The voltage on the battery is a little bit low just because it's cold outside. It's winter here in Utah. But yeah, it'll keep that running for quite a while. And with the air fryer, you rarely ever need it more than 10-15 minutes at a time, but it all works. See some other items that were part of the build that weren't standard on the PleasureWay is this lawn seal marine flooring. This comes as a big roll of vinyl. It's nice and thick, and it's rated for outdoor use, marine use. And we glued that to the floor using a West System epoxy. That way we will never have any thermal expansion issues or buckling. It will all expand at the same rate as the floor. We also put in new black carpet in the front, did all the trim work there, all the trim work around the stairs, new black carpet for the trim around the stairs, new door panel upholsteries. Some of this was upholstered before. It had gotten pretty dingy after 20 years of use. So I replaced it with a kind of Formica countertop material that matches the maple. And we did the same thing in this area. This was all upholstered before. Replaced it all with that maple Formica countertop material. Same thing here, and the same thing on this area. So up front we put in a new it's a Sony stereo system that gives us Apple CarPlay and USB charging. The door panels up front, we removed those and insulated everything behind them. And let's see, this switch here turns on the DC to DC charger. That way we can choose when we're operating that. The insulation in the door panels and the floor, I forgot to mention, we also did insulation underneath the carpet there, along with some sound deadening mat. And it really made a huge difference on not only just how much heat stays in the van while we're heating it with propane, also made a huge difference in the sound as you're driving down the road. It's much quieter in here with that sound deadening and insulation in the doors and on the floor there. I'm sure you know, on these vans, underneath the cup holders there, it's called the dog house. The engine and transmission sit right there underneath the floor, and part of the engine's in the dog house there. So any kind of sound deadening you can add makes a huge difference on what you hear when you're driving down the road. So that's it. That's a full tour of everything that was changed on the PleasureWay van. If you've got any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. Thanks for watching.